Nearly 5 months into his term, Governor Walker told Fox 11 News that just as he promised, the state is on pace to create 250,000 jobs in 4 years. But if there's credit to be accepted, who deserves it? Fox 11's Robert Hornacek talked with the governor and others and brings us balanced coverage.
It was the centerpiece of Scott Walker's campaign to create 250,000 jobs in 4 years. In order to do that, the state needs to add an average of 171 jobs every day. How are we doing so far? We decided to find out. The latest job numbers available go through April. At that point, Walker had been in office 118 days. That means to stay on pace with his campaign goal, the state should have added more than 20,000 jobs. According to the State Department of Workforce Development, from January to April, businesses in Wisconsin actually added nearly 25,000 jobs. I caught up with the governor during a recent stop in Neenah to talk about the numbers. Who should get the credit for those jobs?
I think the people. I've said all throughout the campaign that people create jobs, not the government. And so what we're doing is creating a better business environment. We're getting government out of the way. We're making it easier to do business. But in the end, it's the entrepreneurs, it's the small business owners, it's the people of the state who deserve the credit.
How much of this job creation should be attributed to just the regular economic cycle, economic recovery?
Well, again, some of it plays into that. But again, you look at the difference between us and other states. If we were at exactly the same pace, that would be a solid argument. But in this case, we're leading the pack. We're clearly leading the pack in the region. We're one of the leading states in the country.
Exactly what the numbers mean depends on who you ask. Jim Golembeski from the Bay Area Workforce Development Board says it's not so much the number of jobs that matters, it's the type of jobs.
The whole notion of creating jobs for the sake of creating jobs, I don't know does that much good. It's that focus on these higher end sectors that allow us to create jobs that you can support a family on, that have health care benefits along with them, and you know, that allow you to live, to maintain that middle class lifestyle.
Former Democratic State Rep Jim Seletsky agrees.
My question is always, what are the quality of the jobs that we're creating? If companies cut back on $25 an hour jobs and then they create a bunch of $10 an hour jobs, you know, should we all be celebrating out in the streets that we have a whole bunch of $10 an hour jobs?
Seletsky says some of the jobs created are the result of his party's policies. He says who the governor is doesn't really matter.
I think if it had been Tom Barrett in there or Scott Walker, we'd still be having a lot of these same jobs. It really didn't make too much difference who was captaining the ship. We were still moving ahead.
Walker says he understands no matter what the numbers say, he'll never satisfy his critics.
Frankly, if instead of getting it by 2015, if we hit 250,000 jobs next year, a year in, they'd say they would. I mean, there's such a partisan attitude coming out of many in the Capitol. They're upset even when we announce good job numbers and find a way to complain about it. In this case, we're not about taking credit for it. We give the credit where it's deserved.
Wisconsin is not alone when it comes to creating jobs. In fact, nationwide over the last 3 months, businesses have created an average of 250,000 jobs every month. Robert Hornacek, Fox 11 News.